Well, welcome. This is our fourth video that we're doing here today.
Yes.
And while it might seem like it, we didn't actually talk beforehand about what we were going to wear. These t-shirts actually are the Perfect Second Stringers t-shirts. We're in the band Perfect Second Stringers. Find us on YouTube, and you can see our open science framework. I'm sorry, our open science songs. They're not all about the OSF. But that's not why we're here today, right?
Yeah,
We're
right.
here today to talk about R. And lesson 4 in R, we're going to do lab central tendency and variability. And so we're going to, in terms of R, learn how to subset data, merge data together. I don't know what a loop is. Ignore missing data and analyze based on category. So that's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
We'll see how it goes. I think my library is already going to have psych in it.
And then the read Excel library is so that you can read in your Excel data
Oh,
file.
so I have that too. We had that on an earlier lesson for sure.
That's right.
So if I go down, then our first thing to do is to bring that data set in. I'm thinking I already have that in too. Let's see. Why is that unhappy?
The
The
quotation
quotes
marks.
are no good.
Yeah.
See, now Amber's told us before that if you copy and paste, your quotes might not paste correctly. So I guess we're kind of in good shape demonstrating that here for you.
All right. Good job.
And NA equals NA means that NA means missing data.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, here it says that. The next step is to create a subscale for the markers of adulthood role transition, which is one of the 4 markers of adulthood scales. So I'm going to paste this, and before I enter, so EME2, name it, role, or right? Is it name it?
Yes.
MOA role transition importance.
That's right.
Get the row means from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variables.
Yes.
Is that right? And that happened. And then subset. I'm going to read this and create a subset where it only includes response ID and that variable.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And this is just a good example to show you how to subset data to make it easier to work with.
Yeah. Whoops. That's the wrong place. And so then we can look just to see what we created. And so there's the response ID generated by Qualtrics. Person 485 didn't answer any of those 6 items.
Yes.
As we go through, we're going to create simulated data. You're creating an object called simulated data. See, object called simulated data. Use the data frame response ID. Make 300 of them.
Yes.
Oh, you're building a new data set
Yes.
that puts together the data that we just got and then 300 new ones?
That's correct. Yep. But it will be... This is actually just a simulated data set that models...
None of the original data. So we're
Yeah.
making 300 data points.
That's right.
And we're going to name those 300 data points the same thing as the variable we already
Yeah,
named.
because eventually we are going to combine
Put them back together.
Yep.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mhm.
All right. So now, in fact, it was the next thing we were going to do.
Mhm. Right.
Wow, I just started SPSS. So Amber will have to edit this out later. We'll
Yeah.
just sit here and wait for that to churn. And then I won't open SPSS. I won't close it. I'll just leave it there open as it is. Oh, SPSS. We're trying to replace SPSS. That's the whole point of the videos.
That's right.
Yeah.
It still creeps its way in, apparently.
So are these videos for my students currently, or any of them? Because you had your first meeting, right?
Yes.
So, are you pacing them through? Have you had anyone go through any of this yet?
Yes, I have a couple of your students, and then a couple of other students outside of your class have gone through lesson 1.
Gone through lesson 1.
Mm-hmm. And I think a couple of them are going to look at the videos. So that'll be interesting. Right.
And there went SPSS. We didn't mean to use that. We meant to go to R.
You still need to press enter. There you go.
And then I combine the data sets.
Yeah. So importantly, with the rbind function, you need to make sure that the column or the headers for the column match, or it won't combine the data set.
So yeah, and remembering it to be case sensitive. So the two variables have to be called response ID and MOA underscore role transition underscore IMP with all the correct caps.
That's right.
And all the exact spaces, where there are no spaces.
Yeah,
there can't be any variables spaced in. Okay. And then I'm not sure what I understand why we're doing this.
Oh.
There I went again.
You missed a step.
I did.
You did. So type the EME2.
Oh, so you know why I missed a step is you didn't make it the same way you've made all the rest of them.
Don't go to SPSS. Although now it won't work because you did the max print beforehand.
So now I'll see all 800.
Yes.
But had I not seen them, everybody else that did this follow your instructions, they would have just seen what? 150, right?
I think 500.
500 total, but it wouldn't have gotten the whole way down.
And it would have said that the list was truncated, so you use the...
But I put it out of order. I did this first, is what she's saying,
mm-hmm.
and I was supposed to go second. All right.
Yep.
Oh, well. If you're working through this at home, that shouldn't affect you. You should do it yourself anyway.
Yep.
So then we're going to make an object called data label.
Yes.
And that is going to be labeling everything from... I don't understand what that's doing. What's that doing?
So I am making a label that will... I'm making a new column, or what I'm going to do, or what you're going to do is make a new column, and it's going to be called data label. But first you need to make this into a data frame, and so what we're doing is taking the first 500 data points, and we're going to label them as a 0, and then the next 300 we're going to label it with a 1.
Oh, okay, so this says create labels, make the first 500 labels 0, and the second 300 ones.
Yes.
And it's just making a variable called data label.
That's right.
That's 800 down.
Yes.
Of 0s and 1s.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, for anyone that was listening, that's exactly what she's saying right here in this little comment. And then we're going to put together the two files right here with this C bind. What's C mean?
I'm not sure.
Because there's an R bind
there's
too.
An R bind and a C bind, and you're asking me a question I don't know the answer to.
Uh-oh. All right, so we're combining these two. EME, that's the one we had from before,
mm-hmm.
and then this is the object we just created here.
Mm-hmm.
And now Amber wants us to look at it. And so now we see that there's 800, and that we've got 0s, and so here's the other thing. You can tell the difference between which data it is by whether or not the response ID is this character string or a integer.
Yes.
But the 0s and 1s are there.
Mm-hmm. And the purpose of this exercise is to just show you that you can combine data frames. And
sure. Which has lots of value.
Yes, it does.
If you're an introductory student, you might not recognize that, but we often put things together like that. Describe. Now this seems like we're getting into some statistics here.
Yes.
So the mean of x1 is what?
2.87.
No, but what is x1? I thought...
It's the role transition.
Well, how does it know that it's role transition?
Because we told
describe this thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't tell me the name of it again. It just says the variable that you wanted is here.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there's no function to calculate the mode. So in this part, I'm showing you that you can build your own functions in R.
How many you want to get? Is this a... Huh. Well, what's wrong? It can't be it can't be the quotations because there aren't any.
Let me see. It's because you have...
Okay, so for all of you watching at home, we figured out the problem, which I think was twofold. One was that this, what she's calling a curly bracket, if you copy and paste, that curly bracket's wrong. And then the other thing is that when it comes back, you have to put it in with multiple lines. And I only had 2 lines instead of 3 because it's a loop function. Mm-hmm. So we do finally have it, so we're going to move forward. So this is what we did. This creates code that will allow us to figure out the mode.
Yep.
And then this line is executing that function.
Right.
So the mode is 3.5.
That's correct.
According to R. Next, compare the mean, median, and mode for simulated and real data. Okay, so for the real data,
you're subsetting it based on the label being 0.
See, it says create an object, subset this data set, just looking for the zeros, and look at that variable.
That's right.
And then the next one, my guess, is going to be the exact same thing, but for ones. Mm-hmm. See the label equals 1. Look at that double equal sign. And then this is going to give you 2 means, 2 standard deviations, 2 sets of descriptive statistics, and then 2 sets of modes. See how much it'll take. It wants
this all to be on one.
So the N 485?
That's right. That's because there's missing data.
There's missing data. Mm-hmm. And then one last stop. Okay. So the mode for the random data is 2.86. The mode for the original data is 3.5. And you can see the means and medians and so on.
That's right.
Not a lot of skew in the random data. That's good. All right, the final step in this lesson is to compute those so that we can get variance.
Mm-hmm. Computing the sum of squares. And this is also
And why are we doing this?
Just to show that you can compute things by hand.
Ah, so this is the doing it by hand thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I go SS _ RTI _ sim, then I get that I typed it wrong. SS _ RTI _ sim.
You have 2 underscores there instead of 1.
How'd that happen if I copy and paste it? So that it computed it for us by hand.
That's right.
And then we can compute variance. We're still doing this by hand. And then variance is 0.702. And then this is to check it.
That's right.
Because that is VAR must be
That's the function for variance.
the function for variance that's in psych, right? That's in the psych library
That's
package.
correct.
And it came out the same number. So Amber knows how to do stuff by hand, which means you also should be knowing how to do something by hand. So look up the AMI2 project and find a subscale. Create a subscale using your data. Simulate 500 rows of data. Okay, that's all very doable.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Amber, for teaching us lab number 4. Only 16 and a half minutes. We did quicker than normal.
Yeah, we did. Even with the hiccup.
Well, that's because we paused.
Okay.
I bet in real time that hiccup probably added it. Okay, well, we'll see you next week where we'll do lab number 5.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.